Okay. Let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another Union Stories.
Hey.
Welcome.
We appreciate you tuning in and joining us. Doug, stop.
I'm sorry.
So the last time, if you were tuned into our last story, Doug kept shaking the
I'd love
table.
to shake the table.
Actually, not necessarily. If you joined us 2 stories ago, Doug was shaking the table. I'm sure he won't last week.
Not that these are pre-recorded or anything like
This
that.
one is totally live. If
Totes.
not, would I have this newspaper with today's? No. Okay.
How did he do it?
I'll
Kids are like, "What's a newspaper? What's a newspaper, old man? Why is this in landscape mode?" Please.
Landscape and sepia tone. Or is it sepia?
Oh, well. Okay, so sorry about that. This is what I deal with on a regular basis.
Would you like us to talk about wrestling?
Wrestling shirts. I'm gonna wear a wrestling shirt during the next one.
Well, you should. But that's not why we're here today. Why are we here, Jerry?
We're here because we want to talk about. We've been talking about going song by song throughout the album "Kids on the Same Ride." And Kevin, don't shake the album.
That was me.
Kevin
Don't shake the album.
Don't shake the album.
Don't shake the album. We're going song by song and giving you a little glimpse into the making of each song. And so as we do that, we're kind of going behind the scenes of each song. And this week, there's a reason I'm having to talk so much. It's not always my favorite thing to do because usually it's Doug. Doug likes to do most of the
I'm quite
talking.
the talker. Can't shut me up.
So verbose.
Kevin, very quiet.
This week is week 3.
But this is week 3. Thanks, Kevin, for that prompt. I appreciate that.
And what is the third song on the
Gee,
album?
Kevin, I don't know. I think the third song on the album is
Don't shake the table.
Don't Shake the Table,
Don't Shake
River
the
and
Table.
Mud.
Don't shake the table. Write that down. That needs to be
You
in the
got the
album
paper.
title. I do. Don't shake the table. I can't write it down. It'd be
You're
shaking the table. Oh, it's a conundrum.
So River and Mud, if you haven't listened to River and Mud, it's the third track on Kids on the Same Ride, and we recommend that you listen to it.
It
Stream
posted
it.
last night, so it's
Stream
on
it.
our Facebook page. Hopefully you saw the post last night and listen to it again if it's one you're familiar with or if you're hearing it for the first time. It is on our Facebook page and anywhere that you stream your music.
That's correct.
So River and Mud, let's talk a little bit about River and Mud. Its creation. Oh yeah, this is the one where I get to play therapist.
So we watched the documentary, and you saw
And we know you did.
an altercation between Doug and myself. The number one comment below about Team Jerry or Team Doug, and I know you're going to probably comment that you're Team Jerry because the Jerry was just right about whatever. It's not really the deal is done. The song is out there in the universe, but
It had a difficult birth.
it didn't have a difficult birth. It had a difficult raising. The birth of the song. So
Learning to walk was very difficult for this song.
It had its terrible twos.
So we went into it a little bit in the documentary about some of it. So I wrote this song upstairs in the bedroom one night, just by myself, and as I kind of talked about in the documentary, I'm not a great guitarist. I'm not a good guitarist by that, but I know enough that I add an ish to a lot of things. I can play ish, and but I can do it enough that I can write or get a concept down. So I had written the song, and Doug has often pointed out that I write odd songs because sometimes I write songs that don't have choruses or just.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. But
Just odd.
It's just because I'm.
We'll shake the table. I saw you going for that.
I know. So I'm very much attuned to playing to a grid, locking in a tempo for a song, locking in with the click track, the drums, whatever, and playing along like that. Jerry's not. So when we try and record, and count out everything, it gets a little confusing for us both because we speak two different musical languages.
And Doug speaks more of the music language than I do, whereas I speak like again, you may have seen the documentary. It's like, and I go dun 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 or something because I don't know, and somebody who's better at music and is more trained or what have you would know.
Which I'm neither really.
What they're talking about.
But I still don't know what she's talking about.
Well, I think there's also the advantage is that when I write a song, it's usually to Doug's
This is not
music.
about you, Kevin. This
Is true because
Yeah.
I have learned recently that it's the way we write the majority of our songs isn't really that odd. It's the way that
Right.
it's the way that like Tool has always done it. I've found out recently that the other guys write all the music and then just give it over and then
Yeah.
I mean, you have here's the music. I got lyrics that fit, and I sing, and that's it. You're trying to relay an idea to him to create
Exactly.
the music, and that's where it gets
there's a chord progression
hard for both of you.
This is this long. This is this long. The changes are here, here, and here.
For me, it's like, hey, Doug,
and that
it needs another verse.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
exactly.
do what you
exactly.
did and add another verse, and we're done.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to tell him exactly what you're thinking, what you
Right.
may or may not be able to actually
Articulate.
pull off yourself
Yeah, yeah.
or articulate.
Yeah, that's very true. So.
Well, and when River and Mud was written, so when I wrote that, that was, I want to say it was before It's About Time, and I think so,
I'm not sure.
but
Sometimes you keep songs squirreled away, and I don't know that you actually have them until you feel
Yeah,
brave enough to go, what do you think of this?
again, so my role for the most part with the band has mostly been, to do backing vocals, to do that piece of things, and I don't think until we started really, I think more so working as Storytellers Union. I think prior to, it was kind of like you and Doug were usually doing your thing, and then like I'd come in and lay down some backing vocals on
we
it, or
needed
some
backing
harmony or
vocals.
something.
We weren't calling it Storytellers Union. We weren't calling anything. We were just
That was like the
recording
three
some
of us.
songs.
Yeah, exactly.
And then every now and then it'd be like, hey, we really need some backing vocals on this. You got any ideas? And we'd play it for you, and that's the way it would work.
So anything I was writing was pretty much just
you.
mine. It was just something I was playing around with, and
And
to
maybe
me,
you did have it that far, but I didn't hear this song until after It's About Time. I remember specifically you bringing me into the bedroom and saying, what do you think? And you played me several songs, not just this. You played me
Right.
2 or 3, and I told you that's the one. I mean,
I did,
the
yeah.
others are good, but
for you.
that's the one.
Well, I had around that time I had a little, small little cache of songs. One of which will be brought up in a future Union Stories because
Foreshadowing, I like it.
because it was stolen from me.
I didn't steal it. That wasn't me.
Well, you had a little bit to do with
All right,
it.
that's
but
another
anyway,
that's another
it's a
time.
story for another time.
Obviously, I
But-
wasn't impressed with your version because I said nope, that's the one. River and
It was
Mud.
a good song. It was a really good song. But
I did. This one hit me right away when you played it. I'm like, this is one of the best things you ever wrote, and I still think that.
well, thank you. Yeah. So
But it was different than what it turned out being. What the version you played for me is not where we landed.
somewhat, because the thing with it is not. I'm overall not a country music fan. Like in general, like old country music or something, but not. And so it wasn't, and I'm not a bluegrass fan, or so it wasn't something that I was intending. Like I'm going to go out and write this bluegrassy song, but in my head it was a bluegrassy song, very Alison Krauss kind of vocals and different things like that. It's not where it necessarily ended up, but it was in that sort of vein in the way I was hearing it in my head. It was just something I was playing, and again, it was as much an opportunity to practice playing and singing and writing and things like that as anything. And then I did feel like, I like this one, and Kevin agreed he liked it, and then I played it for Doug. Doug liked it, but the thing was, I kept going. Doug goes, "It's a really fast song," and I had no idea.
Song. It's 160 beats a minute, which is our fastest song.
It is our fastest song.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because I knew that I wasn't playing it well. I knew the idea, and I could flesh it out. And if you see any of the video and stuff, like I'm playing kind of fast and I'm strumming along and things, but it's hard for me to, I felt like, I could never record this because I mess it up a lot.
So did I when I recorded it. Lots of punch-ins.
I only messed it up primarily because, and going back and watching the documentary, I realized, so the big controversy, again, it came down to the chords. If I could have better communicated, like, it goes from an A minor to an E minor, and then it goes to this C.
But it's kind of like writing a song with Phoebe, actually. We start out with Iceberg,
Exactly.
then go to Bear Claw, and then back to Iceberg.
I'm doing this, and then I'm going here, and he's like, "You're doing the same thing." No. But I couldn't like communicate. No, that's not.
So from the
Friends reference, if you don't get that,
documentary
go out.
perspective,
Just
it
Google
was
Phoebe
great
writing songs.
to have you all talk about this. And then go back and look at footage when I was putting the documentary together and go, holy crap. Because there was so much like, I don't know how you're doing that. Here, record yourself doing it so I can see it. I had so much footage on this song to go behind your all's argument. And it was hilarious because the argument basically kept boiling down to, I'm playing it differently every time. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. And there, there's video footage and...
So I
think you finally admitted that maybe you did do
one
something
time
a little
I did.
different.
One time I did, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there I did." But then in the very next one that Doug recorded me, I'm like, "No, I do it right." So it is funny.
Which comes around to what is right, which is what I was asking. What is right?
To which
is it right?
She famously gives probably the best line in the whole documentary,
What
which is
right,
basically
Doug?
what I say is right. Is right.
No, I said, "What is right, Doug?"
I wrote the song.
Which is saying, what I say, what is right is what I say is right,
which is the Dylan-esque of like,
Which
however
is
I'm
correct.
singing it is the right way at
Which
that moment,
again-
and it'll be different next time.
exactly.
Which is also
Which,
right.
again, was all I was trying to ask is, show me how to play it so I can record it that way, because I'll record it one way. No, that's not right. Play it this way. But that's what I.
I remember when you did come back with it too. She actually thought, I guess we can make this work, but this isn't right. And you did. You're
I
like,
had the hardest time.
She had a hard time trying to
You've
sing
no
it because in her
idea.
head she's still thinking of the way she was playing it instead of the way it was
which is
presented.
very loose. Which if we could have, a solution to this may have been to just mic and guitar.
Yeah.
Get a mic for Jerry to sing and just let her go.
But honestly, I don't know that if we'd have done that, if we would have ended up where we did, and where we did ended up being right in the end, because it couldn't have sounded more fantastic.
No, yeah, it
and I
really
don't know
was.
that she would have ever gone there if she was just that's where the combination of the two of you both improved the song, trying to understand each other. Because our fastest song is not our heaviest song; it is somehow our most countryish song, which started as a little Irish folk lament.
Yeah, pretty much was
when she
a-
first
yeah. I mean,
played it for me.
it's-
I heard like bagpipe. I mean, I heard like
Yeah.
a Irish jig
Not pan
kind of
flute,
folk.
bagpipe.
It's a song that
And then instead it ends up at this
mostly minor chords, so it's
it's the punkiest thing
that's
that we
that's
have.
what I always heard, especially from being in my head very early on when I tapped out the tempo and realized this is 100 and actually I think it's like 157 or something like that, but I like round numbers, so I just rounded it up to 160 and set the click at 160 to record everything. I had it in my head this is a faster tempo because I usually write between like 90 and maybe 110. I mean I'm more of a mid-tempo writer. I just am. So
we tend to do a lot of mid-tempo writing ourselves.
And so this is
it
just
fits.
light speed for me at 160 beats per minute. And in my head, I'm thinking punk, and I'm thinking punk bluegrass, which makes me think Old Crow Medicine Show. And then I'm also thinking, Johnny Cash is really punk. At his heart, Johnny Cash is really punk. So I need that like train, that train backbeat with the train rhythm, that thing going, just driving the song, and then it just kind of took off.
When we
from
heard
there.
the fiddle, when that mix came back, we were looking at each other slack-jawed. I mean, literally, it's like, okay, this is not what we were expecting.
Wow.
But, oh my gosh, we've never done anything that sounds more Americana or country-ish. I mean, it's by far the farthest we've ever gone in that direction, and it's fantastic because of it. It sounds like no other Storytellers Union
And
song.
the song that I was writing was very, very simple in chord and Chris, and it really truth what inspired me for the song was, and so you're horrible with our song names, but I'm horrible with other song names. Like, I know the song and I could sit and sing it to you, but I never know what the name of the song is. But it's the last song on the Bends. Radiohead. You know, it's got the little...
Shame on me for not knowing the answer to this.
Too bad this is live, or we could post-produce this to look like we all knew the answer to this.
If somebody out there really knows Radiohead, knows what Tom York is actually saying, then you're better than me, because I just make those words up too. But anyway, that's the song that inspired it, because it's
I didn't know that.
Got this it's dark music, and it's kind of like a little jiggy kind of, not jig, but medieval sound to it. And
jiggy medieval?
No, not. Yeah, I was thinking of the Irish thing, but it's not that.
Well, for me, this is one of the rare opportunities that I get to back you. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, Street Spirit.
Street Spirit. Thank you.
Okay, as Shadowrun players, we should have been able to. As Radiohead fans and Shadowrun players, I'm ashamed of all of us right now.
Yeah,
never know that. Costing us money now? Are we getting?
We're gonna get copyright. If this goes to YouTube, we get a copyright strike. Yeah. But that.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so Radiohead creeps back in again.
Yeah, that was
the most unexpected place.
At that time, I was listening to.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Well, very clever still.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But no, I never knew. I never knew that. I was
listening to that a lot. I was listening to Radiohead, that album a lot, and different things, and I liked the dark kind of tune of it, and so then just I don't know, one day I started playing a song that started off in minor chord and just.
At some point during all this and the recording process, I heard a backing part. And as I was saying, I don't get that opportunity. You back me a lot. You have 2 songs on the first album, 2 songs on this album. And on each of our albums, there are 2 songs of those 4 that I have nothing to do with. And I'm not just saying this, she is such a great singer. And she is. She comes up with these great backing parts for my songs, and they just sound so much better. And like, there's 2 of the 4 that she had that I literally thought I can't think of a way of improving on them. But with this, I heard a part, and I thought, it's a rare opportunity to actually back her. I heard Buddy
Miller. I was going to say.
I heard Buddy and Julie Miller in my head, and so I started singing my backing part as Buddy with that high and lonesome sound. Except then I'd go back and listen and realize I can't hit that high and lonesome sound. So then I brought it down an octave, and it worked. And it was great because I felt like there was something I can contribute to help make this even a little more country and actually sing back up for you for a change instead of the way it normally works. So that was nice. Because when we get to later on and talk search engine, there was a song without a chorus. There was nothing that I could think of that would improve what you had going on there. But this, I thought, I think if she's okay with it, I got a part in here that a place that I might be able to find. But I think it all came together.
Obviously it did, and what Doug ended up doing with the music was phenomenal, and it did make our jaw drop because, there's a lot going on. There's some apocalypse happening. Right?
Zombies!
Now.
No.
Right now, live.
Yes.
This is happening. We're getting a broadcast alert that...
I think that's the signal. It's time to go, folks.
Aliens...
I think that means we've talked River and Mud.
Well, Doug, do you have anything to add about the music?
Just as a side note, I was looking at the chord progression for Street Spirit. It is in the key of C, which is the relative major of A minor, which River and Mud is in, and it does lead with an A minor.
I knew that.
Yeah, there's a lot of A sus 4s and 2s in there, and it bounces back with those, but it does share the 4 main chords.
So she could have told you
the 3
that.
main chords. If she just
told you that. She saved that for the fans,
right? Instead of
telling her bandmate,
just go listen to learn how to play.
Because we wouldn't have had a second half of our documentary had it not been for all the infighting with this song. So she probably was doing it for that reason. Yeah, it added to the documentary.
You gotta have
So,
some
yeah. So that's
some flair.
woo. Ric Flair.
Reverend Mud, folks.
Probably enough of that.
Woo!
Join us next week. If you
Are we supposed to
didn't,
do this?
No. That's
No, not for Ric Flair, but are we supposed to do it for?
so join us next week for more
We're about to click.
wrestling and music
I'll-
discussions.
Sweet.
And I'll let Doug sign us off.
Take care of yourselves and each other. That's right. I did a Jerry Springer ending.